Hey guys, Chad Hoover, Kayak Bass Fishing, and today I'm going to answer another subscriber question. This one comes from Adventures 101. Adventures 101 says, "Hey Chad, this question's from the wife. Diane asks, does fishing pre-spawn to put too much stress on the fish and make it harder for them to lay their eggs?" You know what, Adventures 101, that's a great question, and Diane, thanks for passing that question along. So here's the thing, pre-spawn fishing doesn't really put as much stress on a fish as it does, say, catching it off the bed. Now here's what I'll say about the whole topic. Bed fishing can be controversial, and I think that as long as you bed fish with a lot of, conservation-minded practices, it's something that we can all do and something that allows an angler to have the opportunity at that fish of a lifetime. And so I'm not going to tell someone not to bed fish when it's the best time of the year for them to have a chance at catching a big fish. I personally have kind of gotten away from, really targeting fish on the bed. I did a video a couple years ago, 2 bass, 1 bed, where I caught 2 really giant bass off of a bed, and it was because I had taken another angler there and was trying to show them the dynamics of how bed fishing works, reading the body language of a fish, and ultimately we wanted to make the exclamation point of catching the fish. For the most part, I'm a bigger fan of figuring out what those fish do right before the spawn, what we like to refer to as the pre-spawn, and then figuring out how to catch those fish, and then really not getting involved in the pandemonium and the mayhem of everybody out there flipping and pitching, wiggling baits and jiggling stuff, trying to get those bass that they can actually see on the beds. Now, I do believe that if you catch that fish and you handle it properly and you get it back in the water quickly, it recovers from the stress, and I've read numerous studies that say that that doesn't have a really major impact. Now, obviously catching that fish, throwing it in a live well, driving around with it on the lake, crossing over boat wakes, beating it up, putting it on a trailer, taking it 70 miles, that fish probably won't spawn successfully. But there's also a lot of studies that say that even tournament fishing, to a certain extent, doesn't have as detrimental effect on the spawn as we think. I'm a big fan of doing the best you can to limit your impact on the fishery by not targeting the fish and stressing them out more than you need to on the bed. One of the techniques and tactics that I like to use is I'll mark those fish at night with a marker with a reflector on it, or during the daytime, and I'll come back at night and hit that shoreline with a light, and I'll work my way in and I'll fish for those bigger females at night when it's cooler, when the water temperature is better for their metabolism. And, some people think that we may be splitting hairs, but 2 to 3 degree water temperature difference can make a major difference on a fish's recovery. But 5, 7, 10 degree water temperature, especially once they've locked on, is a big deal. But let me tell you another big advantage of going to spawning areas at night and doing some graphing, looking at your charts, is I actually like to go in at night, know where the spawning area is, know where that fish was on the bed, and if they're not still there, I like to graph around, look at my navionics, look at my depth finder, and figure out where do those fish go. Because generally, wherever those fish go at night, if they don't stay shallow, is where they're going to be first thing in the morning, and it's going to allow me to figure out what fish do, where they do it, why they do it, and even on a different body of water, if I can find a similar scenario and a similar setup, it'll help me narrow down water and figure out where those bedding fish have gone. So to really delve off into it, you can't say that anything that you do that traumatizes or stresses out a fish can't have some effect on it. But to answer Diane's question and concern, which is definitely what I could tell in the question, is I don't think it has as detrimental an impact as a lot of people like to make it out to be, but I also think that there's many cases where it has a more detrimental impact. So because there's not enough studies and science out there to really say, definitively one way or another, unless you're taking a fish that's been taken completely away or taking a fish that has spawned and then measuring the biomass of the fry that are created, measuring the sampling of the success of the spawn for the fish in that area from sampling after the fact. It's really hard to say definitively. What I can say is I'm a big fan of taking extra special care of those extra special creatures, those big old bucket mouth, bug-eyed, pot-bellied, fat, cankle-tailed, beautiful girls that we all like to think of as toads and slaunches and donkeys and mondos, and take care of them the best we can, like we do all the women in our lives, and everybody will be happier. The fishery will be healthier. You know, as they say, happy wife, happy life. Well, take care of those big girls that take care of the fishery, the matriarchs that make it all happen, and I promise you, just your good common sense and your good judgment will help you do better to do better by the fish. So I'm not a big fan of over targeting fish in the spawn, but I'm also not, you know, one of those people that says you can't fish the spawn ever. It's something that, you know, that you just have to make a personal decision on. I personally like to focus on the pre-spawn, getting them in that 48 to 52 degree water temperature on their way in, and then using where they're at, when they are, where they are, how they are on the beds to figure out both where they were before so that the next year I can catch them early, and figure out where they go from there so I can figure out how to target them post-spawn and beyond. So, you know, again, I know that I kind of tiptoed around the question and didn't answer it definitively because I don't think there is a definitive answer. Use your best judgment. Take good care of those fish. Take good care of the resource, and the rest will work itself out. So anyway, smash that thumbs up button if you like this video. You know, leave a comment in the comment section on what you think about these type of questions, these type of videos, and like always, leave a question in the comment section below if you want me to pick that comment to talk about in a future subscriber shout out video. Anyway, I'm Chad Hoover. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next video.